On the surface, Outer Wilds is a campy and charming narrative-driven puzzle game, spurred by a childlike fascination for space exploration. With Outer Wilds' adorable mini-planets and toyish aesthetics, developer Mobius Digital Games forms a brilliant and somewhat deceiving mask. Because underneath its light-hearted marshmallow roasting surface, Outer Wilds is profound science fiction. It unravels at the edge of space, time, causality, and consciousness, taking noticeable inspiration specifically from Stanley Kubrick's famed science fiction film 2001: A Space Odyssey. Waking up and witnessing something happening above you, your journey into space is one coated in mystery. All you know of your character is that you're a young Hearthian, a species of quirky four-eyed aliens living on a woodland planet called Timberhearth. Following a brief tutorial sequence, you board your spaceship and Mobius lets you off the leash. The Outer Wilds star system is fully explorable, with planets, moons, and other areas full of ancient ruins and puzzles, each existing as sort of their own level. Where you go first and in what order you explore them is up to you, but in what serves as the story's centerpiece and perhaps Outer Wilds' most divisive feature is that you're on a timer. Every 22 minutes, Timberhearth star goes supernova, annihilating the entire star system and resetting time. You wake up where you started, rewatching the same strange event happening above you, and venturing out to further your investigation into what the time loop is and why it's happening. From both storytelling and gameplay perspectives, Mobius took some serious risk designing Outer Wilds. Rather than focusing on a single foundational approach to puzzles, Outer Wilds mixes and matches different mechanics, including environmental puzzles, platforming puzzles, and more. The vast majority of its story is told mainly through text, diary entries, dialogue, and the environment itself. And then there's that 22-minute time loop, which, even if you're in the middle of a complex multi-step puzzle, will reset your progress. Outer Wilds is unconventional, but it executes, resulting in one of the most engrossing and unique narrative-driven puzzle games I've ever played. It's exceptionally well-written, witty, and at times melancholy. The story focuses on the Nomai, an advanced ancient alien civilization that, by some unknown means, went extinct. You'll not only investigate what happened to them, but learn what their society was like and become intimately familiar with who they were culturally. Flaws in Outer Wilds are entirely technical. Consistent frame rate drops, a few bugs, and occasional crashes were frustrating, but never reached a point that they ruined my experience. Aside from those issues, it's hard to find something I think is wrong with Outer Wilds, let alone something I dislike. For your journey across space and time, you'll need a few tools to help you along the way. A scout launcher, useful for a number of reasons, especially to reveal harmful environments, a signal scope, which amplifies and tracks interstellar signals, a spacesuit, and of course, your spaceship. With the ship specifically, Mobius does a great job making it accessible. Resembling the Apollo Lunar module, 6 thrusters give you propulsion in each direction, more often making it feel like you're hovering than you're flying. It's relatively easy to control, but comes with a high skill ceiling. The more skilled and daring a pilot you are, the more options you may have at approaching puzzles and landing sites. It can take quite a beating too, so landing isn't too difficult, though slam into a planet fast enough and you will have to make repairs. Your spacesuit comes with a jetpack and flies pretty much the same way your ship does, but while your ship has unlimited fuel and oxygen, your spacesuit doesn't. As you explore space or places without oxygen or gravity, you'll need to keep an eye on your suit's gauges and search for extra sources of fuel and oxygen. Your ship will refill both, so it's a good idea to stay around it if possible. As opposed to other space exploration games that make realistic scale a priority, Outer Wilds prioritizes depth. Flying in and around the star system won't take you very long, and neither will traveling around landable bodies. But each of these landable bodies represents a distinct and very different set of environments and puzzles, as well as different individual stories as to why they're so different. For example, Dark Bramble, the system's outermost planet, has been destroyed by an ominous and unknown entity. It's now a milky labyrinth of seemingly random portals that hide a dark and dangerous secret. Then there's the Hourglass Twins, a pair of smaller planets that closely orbit one another. The Ash Twin begins as a sea of sand, and the Ember Twin a desert punctured by layers of empty rivers and underground tunnels. But as the 22-minute time loop counts on, the Ash Twin's sand falls into the Ember Twin, uncovering some secrets while burying others. Witnessing Outer Wilds' adaptive, clockwork-like interactivity is mesmerizing, and you'll need to learn how to play and plan within that 22-minute time loop. Certain puzzles aren't available until later in the cycle, and some only available early on. There's a lot of trial and error, even an element of comedic, organized chaos. Objects have gravity, and if you're not careful, you will get dragged in by the star, or crash into a planet because you weren't aware you were in its gravity, or maybe your ship gets depressingly flung out into space right before your eyes. Fortunately, death resets the timer just like the supernova does, meaning experimentation is usually low risk, and because the star system is small and mostly easily traversable, getting back to exploring or solving puzzles usually happens quickly, even if it takes some persistence. And some of these puzzles are despicably creative, even to a frustrating point, though I wouldn't say poorly designed. Mobius wants to turn you on your head, to disorient and challenge you. Outer Wilds can be difficult and inconvenient, but solving its puzzles is equally as rewarding. In fact, I'd commend Mobius for sticking to the 22-minute time loop, even if it occasionally annoyed me. Without it, the setting would lose some of its grandeur. Importantly, the loop doesn't disrupt the story, something Mobius needed to get right, and did. Your ship has a log that summarizes the details you've found, and no matter how many times Outer Wilds resets, your ship's log stays updated with your most recent discoveries. It's extremely well organized, and even provides a little direction, hinting at which locations you may need to visit next. Outer Wilds is phenomenal, a gripping cosmic mystery with a passion for space exploration and a delightfully colorful universe. Minus its technical flaws, it had me entertained and intrigued from beginning to end. Mobius reaches out on a limb, but they nail the execution. Outer Wilds is a must-own for fans of narrative-driven puzzlers, and I'd still highly recommend it for those who only dive into the genre from time to time.